Hey guys, if you saw my first tutorial, you'll see that I haven't made a second video. Now, I created that video thinking I'd only get 20 views, and so I kind of gave up on it now. The other day I was searching on Google, and on Google I found it, and I looked at it and realized it had 840 views when I thought it would only get about 20. So I thought I kind of have to make a new tutorial. Now, the thing is, I've got a new computer since then. Well, it's not actually a different computer. It's just a different operating system. Well, it's still Windows 7. It's just, it doesn't matter. Anyway, so we're going to have to make it from scratch, although I'm going to make the whole blank rig in this one tutorial, and then in the next tutorial I might do texturing. So basically the first thing I tend to do, when creating a Minecraft rig is simply to create a cube. Now you can see this says drag the base on the grid and drag it up. Now that's not what we want to do when we start, because we want the right shape, and it's much easier just to start from a cube that's already there. So if you go to Polygon Primitives and go down to Interactive Creation and untick this, and then click on the cube, you can see it creates a basic cube. Now, the thing that everyone uses is every 8 pixels is 1 Maya unit. Now you can go and count now that Steve's head is 8 by 8 by 8, right? So obviously his head's going to be 1 by 1 by 1. So that's his head. So you can see over here in the channel box layer editor, it says pcube1. That's the name of this cube. Another thing, I am running Maya 2014 student version. And I just won't use any of the highlighter tools, just in case you guys aren't using Maya 2014. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rename pcube1, and I'm going to recall it something like head, right? Because it's head, it's kind of obvious. Now what you do with this is you now want to create a body. So go ahead and make a new shape. Now that'll create another one on top of that one. So call this one body. Now we don't want to lose these on top of each other, so go to inputs. Now this is where you change the size. The height of a body is 1.5. The width of the body is 1, and the depth is 0.5. Yep. Okay. So that's 4 pixels, 8 pixels, so, yeah. And then, so that's the body, that's the same size as the body. Then let's create another cube. Now we use the same shape for the arms and the legs, so just call this one arm leg, pretty straightforward. And go ahead and go to inputs, and change these all to 0.5 and change the middle one to 1.5, and that's the size of the arms and the legs. So now what we want to do is we want to move this head exactly onto the top of this body, and we want to move this arm exactly onto the side, this side, and obviously the bottom. So first let's do the head. Now there's a very useful thing built into Maya, which is if you hold down V, it'll snap to each corner. Now if we hold V and drag this up, you can see it drags it up to there, but whoa, it doesn't really drag on top of the head. You can see it doesn't go up any more than that, and that's because it snaps the move tool itself and snaps this shape to the corner. So what we need to do is we need to hold D, and D means you can move this move tool around. Then we want to hold V, and that means we can move this move tool around to the corners. So if we just select this green bit here and drag it to the bottom of the head, then we hold V and drag it up, you can see, because the move tool was at the bottom that was snapped to this corner, we could then snap that to this corner here. So let's go ahead and do that with the arms. Obviously, we have to go D, V, take this red one, move it over to the side, hold V, drag it over. Now to double or duplicate this, we hold Control then D, but first I'm going to go subdivisions height and change this to 2. Now what that's going to do is it means it can bend at that position, which obviously allows him to bend his arm, because otherwise it would be pretty awful. Now let's hold Control and press D, and hold D and V and drag it over to that side, hold V and drag it over. So now he's got 2 arms. Now D, V, just drag this up to the top, down, cross, whoops, I forgot to duplicate it. Duplicate it, leg, duplicate it, arm that should be there. So now you can see we've created a simple body shape. I'm just gonna, okay, that's fine. So let's go ahead and select all of these and simply drag him up so he's just above the grid. Now if you press the key 5 or click on this icon here at the top, what this does is it shades the character just so you can see him a bit easily. Also, when we're dealing with bones, you can click on this icon which shows the bones through everything, or you can click on this icon which just makes everything into an X-ray, which means you can see through things. So you can see he's just off the grid there. It doesn't have to be perfect at all. In fact, if he's not on the grid, it's probably good. Now, the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to curves and I'm gonna create a NURBS circle. Now, you simply drag it out on the grid. Now, this circle is gonna control him. Now, I tend to just put the circle directly underneath him by changing these all to 0, 0, 0 and just leave it like that. But a lot of people who make rigs tend to go Control Vertex and they select, like, let's say this one, and drag it up. And they tend to give it some sort of shape. Now, I think they do this so if you put the guy on flat ground, then this still sticks out the top. That's the theory behind it. So let's just leave it like that. But you can just leave it as a circle if you want. Now, the reason we created this is so he's going to have loads of bones, etc. in him. And if you just select it like this, it's not going to work because it's not always going to select everything. So when you select this is going to be parented to everything. I'll just explain what parenting is quickly. If I select this and this, if it'll let me. Okay, if I select this and this, you select 2 things by clicking on this, holding down Shift and this, and drag it over here. You can see it moves together, right? However, if I rotate it, you can see it doesn't. It simply rotates both the shapes. So that shows that these 2 shapes don't act as one. Now, parenting is where you choose the children of the parent, and then you choose the parent. So right now, the child is the arm, and the head is the parent, and the parent is always the one that's green, right? Then you parent by going Edit, Parent, or you simply press P. So let's select the arm and the head and press P. And now you can see if we select the arm is just a totally normal arm. However, if we select the head, this is one object with the arm as part of it. So let's go ahead and press Ctrl Z so they're not parented, because obviously you don't want the head to be parented to the arm. And let's set about creating some bones. So what we need is we want the bones to be directly straight down the arm, because what we're going to do is we're going to use an IK handle, which when you drag up, it drags it up, and if it's slightly over to that way, then the arm is going to bend over that way. So we need a bone that's completely straight. So for this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the side view. Now in the side view, I'm going to go ahead and create my bones. Now you do this by clicking on animation. Then you select this tool that is not really a bone, it's just kind of, they call it a bone, joint tool. Select it. Now if you double click on it, then you can see it brings up this. Go ahead and just drag all of these sliders down. I've never really looked at each one. It's just if you drag it down, it seems to work. And that means the bone won't be utterly massive. So you simply put a bone at the top of the arm. Now, as I said, we want it to bend that way as an arm. So what we do is we go back just a tiny bit. So let's put a bone there, and then at the bottom, let's just place a bone there. So you can see that it's slanting just that way slightly. Now let's do the bone that we're going to use for the legs. So go ahead and select this so it gets rid of that. Let's get rid of this. Okay. So let's select here, then go forward slightly and select here, then go back to the middle and select here. Now we have our leg and thingy bones. So now if we go into the front view, you can see these have been created directly in the middle. So if we select this one, simply drag it into the middle of that arm, hold Control, press D, move this over into the middle of that arm, and simply do the same with this. Control D, drag it over to the middle of the leg. Okay, so now you can see we've got bones in the arms and the legs. So now what we want to do is we want to go into here, and you can, now I'm going to show you what the X-ray does. So if we click on X-ray, you can see the bones through the thing. So I prefer to use X-ray because you can see where the bones are in the guy. However, if you go like that and click this, sometimes it's kind of confusing to know where they are on the person because the bones just show up through everything. But both are useful in their own way, and I have no idea what that does. Okay, so what we want to do now is we want to make a controller for this bone. Now we make a controller by using this tool here, this tool with like a little bubble and then 3 things coming off it. And this is called the IK handle tool. It's a handle that joins to your bone that allows you to easily change it and access it. So click on this IK handle tool, select the top of the bone, then the bottom of the bone, and you can see that's put this IK handle onto it. Now if you select this IK handle, this is how you would control the bone. So you can see if you drag this up, the bone bends that way. However, if the bone is facing the other way, like this way, it would bend that way. So let's go ahead and make an IK handle for all of these. Let's select the IK handle tool, top, bottom, IK handle tool, top, bottom, IK handle tool, top, bottom. Now what I'm going to do in a bit is I'm going to create a layer that takes all of the bones and IK handles. So we need a NURB controller for these IK handle tools. Now these are just NURB circles that are used for controlling things. They don't actually do anything. They don't show up in the animation. They're simply little circles that do whatever you want them to do. So let's go ahead and select a NURB circle, and let's make a small NURB circle, and let's put it at 0, 0. Now what you want to do is I'm going to hold V, and I'm going to put it on this line on the bone. I don't know why, I just always tend to do it this way. So just place it there like that. And let's just go ahead and resize this so you can see it nice and easily. So yeah, that's nice. So let's go ahead and select this. Control D, hold down V and drag it over to here. Control D, V, drag it down to that there. So drag it up a bit, hold Control, press D, V, drag it across there. So now you can see we've put simply pointless circles on each of them to control the bones. Now what we want to do is we want these to control this. Now I taught you about parenting earlier. Now this is where it comes in handy. We want this to control this. So we want this to be the child and we want this to be the parents. So make sure you select this, then this, and click P. Then unselect it, select this, then this, click P. Select this, then this, click P. And select this, then this, and click P. So now you can see when we select this NURB circle, it controls the bone. Just press Control Z if you moved that. So now you can see we've got 2 controllers on each arm, which isn't great, but I'll sort that out. Now, a big flaw that you guys have probably seen and thinking, what the hell, is that when we drag this up, the bone moves, but the arm doesn't. Now, this is called a bind, a skin bind. Now, if you change this tab to animation, you can see there's skin, bind skin, smooth bind tab. Now this is how you bind it. However, there's some settings we need to change. So click on this little box here. Now all you need to change in here is skinning method. Change this to dual quaternion. I think it is originally on classic linear. Just put it on dual quaternion. That's all you need to change. Hit close. Now what you do is you select the bone, then you select what you want it to control, such as the arm. It doesn't matter which order you select them in, you can select the arm and the bone, it'll still. Then skin, smooth bind, select the bone and the arm, skin, smooth bind, bone and arm, skin, smooth bind, bone and arm, skin, smooth bind. So you can now see that if we grab one of these NURB circles, it now moves the arm like so. So now what we want to do is we want to make it so this NURB circle here selects the whole body. So first of all, the head and this doesn't contain any NURB circles, so you can go ahead and select them. Now select all the bones, like that. And select all the IK handles. And last of all, select all the NURB circles. Now, you're probably thinking, oh yeah, and what about selecting the arms and the legs? Now, the arms and the legs are selected by the moved by the bones. So as long as you've got the bones selected, the only actual polygons you need to select is this bit and the head, the body and the head. You don't need to select the arms or the legs, you only select the bones. Then obviously last of all you click this and you click P, and that will make it all be controlled by this thing here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to make it so these bones don't show up, because frankly I think they look manky. Another thing that I have to say is when you select these NURB circles and parent it to here, we selected the IK handles tool as well, so you can see it's unselected these from the IK handles. So go ahead and select the IK handle, NURB circle P, just go ahead and do this again. So IK handle, NURB circle P, IK handle, NURB circle P. So now you can see when we select this, it moves the arm again. So let's just make sure this moves everything. Make sure this still works after that. Yep. Okay. So now we basically created our rig. Next time I might show you how to texture it, and then next one I'll show you how to make a proper rig, a full body rig, which is one with a whole spine so you can bend his body, etc. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to select all the bones and all the IK handles. Now, I'm doing this because now I've selected all the bones and all the IK handles. Go down to this tab and go to layers, create layer from selected. Click on that. Double click on this and call this bones underscore IKs. Now it doesn't make any difference what you call this. Just call it something easier than layer 1, although it's probably our only layer on this rig. Now you can see everything still works completely normally. All it did was, you can see there's a little V here. Now if you click on that, all it does is it simply gets rid of all those bones. Now you can see this is a much nicer thing to animate than that. You can simply move these around and it moves the arm. You can move it up, out, etc. You can, and if you ever want to edit the bones, if there's ever something wrong with the bones, simply click on that box and they all come back. So that's how layers work. They basically, you can turn it. Another thing, if you double click on this, then you have a bunch of different colors. You can click on red and it'll make all the bones red. There, you can see it makes all the bones red. This cross just uses the default colors for all the bones, so that just seems logical. Sometimes I do make it grey, just because it just shows that the bones aren't really needed because we've got all the controllers. So that's how you make a very simple Minecraft rig. It's fun for creating backgrounds, such as my background here. You can see his body's completely straight because this wasn't done with a full body rig. Thanks for watching, guys. I'm really sorry about this thing. Now I've shown you how to make this rig. I'm sorry I didn't make a response to that last tutorial. So that's how you create a whole simple rig. This is what I was going to show you last week. This is what I was going to show you last time. I will show you how to skin the character, I hope, unless I have a random waiting period where I do nothing. Hope you enjoyed this tutorial, guys. Hope this gets as many views as the last one did, and like and sub if you enjoyed.